How's it going, YouTube? This is Skul, and welcome to my monthly video game pickups video for the month of May 2018. Got a lot of games to go through here, and I frankly don't even know where to start. But, I guess I'll start with my Switch games. If you recall, last month I said that I would go up through the 100th Switch game to be released in North America before stopping. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get there. I only got 2 North American games this month, which brings me up to, I think, 94 from North America, and I figure, you know what, this is a good place to stop it. So, the 2 I got this month are Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which was, of course, a Wii U game, got ported to the Switch, and I got Shantae Half Genie Hero, and I strongly recommend that all of you get this. This is such a good game. Actually, the Ultimate Edition of the Launch Edition sold out pretty much immediately, which is pretty awesome. But they will be reprinting it, so if you ever see this in a store, get it. It's cheap, it's fun, you'll love it. And then I got this, Let's Sing 2018. So the thing with this game, this is a European exclusive game, and even weirder, the UK version is super hard to find. Like, I've had my fans on Twitter, anyway, looking for this game in their UK stores for months, and none of them really found it. From my research, most stores, if they got one at all, they only got 1 copy, then it was bought up. So the UK version, which is this, got to be super hard to find. Actually, I have a friend in Sweden whose store had this, and they sent it to me. So the German version is the easiest one to find. The UK version is one of the hardest, but I got the UK version, and I'm super happy. This is probably going to be one of the harder to find physical Switch releases in the world. But I have it, so don't have to worry about it, and that's all the Switch games I got this month. Next month, the biggest one that I can think of that I'm looking forward to is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, but there's also Mario Tennis Aces, there's a few other games. Hopefully I get some from Nintendo, so we'll have to see. Let me go ahead and just show off my Wii U games now. With these 5 games that I picked up this month, I now have 54 Wii U games from North America, which is exactly 1/3 of the library. 162 altogether, I have 54. So the 5 that I got, all these I believe I got used from various GameStops. I got Ben 10 Omniverse, which has one of the worst condition Wii U covers I've ever seen. Whoever played this obviously left it out, and got it basically ruined. But the disc is fine, it comes with the manual, so it is complete. Maybe I'll upgrade it later, but it's Ben 10. It's not like it's a priority. This one is, okay, Family Party, 30 Great Games, Obstacle Arcade. I don't know what to say about this. It's a minigame collection, basically. It looks like shovelware, but I haven't played it yet, and it's hard to make shovelware for the Wii U, so the cover's not the best, but it's better than Ben 10. This one is pretty unique. Resident Evil Revelations, this has been released on pretty much every console since the 7th generation, but has a black spine. Almost every single Wii U game has a white spine, so this really sticks out on the shelf. This has black. Star Fox Guard has like an off-color cream spine, and there's probably a few more that I don't remember. I think there's one more black one, actually. I could be wrong, but it's such a unique thing. It really sticks out on the shelf, and, well, I love unique games, so there we go. Resident Evil Revelations, basically perfect condition. I got this because why not? Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Widely considered to be one of the worst games of all time. 3D Sonic doesn't do too well, huh? So, figure may as well get it, why not? It was a fair price at GameStop. And finally, ABC Wipeout, which is just called Wipeout on my list, so, but yeah, another, looks like a party game, so, again, 54 Wii U games, very happy. So, on a similar note, I got 6 N64 games this month, which puts me up over 100 N64 games. I think I'm at 103 now, maybe? But yeah, so I have over 1/3 of the N64 library. Luckily, I'm still able to get a lot of really nice cheap ones from my retro game store. I'm missing a lot of the first-party games. I don't have GoldenEye, I don't have any of the Mario parties, I don't have Mario Kart, I don't even have Super Mario 64 or Donkey Kong 64, so there's still plenty of games for me to get to look forward to. But I do have some nice ones like Ocarina of Time and Pokemon Stadium. I have a lot of good ones, and actually some of these that I got this month I'm pretty happy about. So I got Madden 99, which I believe is the last Madden I needed, which is really nice. NFL Quarterback Club 2000, and if this is your first time watching my channel, the N64 had a lot of sports titles, a lot. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say anywhere from a quarter to a third of the N64 library is sports. NHL 99, and actually I played NHL 2000, it's actually a very fun game. The Switch needs a hockey game. This one I'm super happy with, Pilot Wings 64. Now, I played this a lot when I was a kid. I love this game. It's one of the first 3D open-world exploration games. Not to say that it's a true open-world game, like there's stuff to do in the open world, but you can go pretty much anywhere on the map using a jetpack, or a helicopter, or called a gyrocopter, or other things like that. So, I played this a lot when I was a kid. Actually, this was one of the launch titles on the N64 with Mario 64, so this is a super fun game. If you've not played this, and you have the ability to, do it. Do yourself a favor. You will find yourself loving it a lot. There's something rattling in there. Hopefully it's just some plastic. We got Paperboy. It's, I actually don't see 64 on the title, so I think people refer to this as Paperboy 64, not to confuse it with Paperboy on NES, but this is just called Paperboy. I had not played that, but I saw it played, Cinemassacre played it. And then we got Top Gear Hyperbike, and the label looks horrible, but that's just because, I cleaned it as fast as I can, but it's obvious this was, at one point, a rental game, and it's just plastered on there, so it's definitely a label upgrade for the future, I think. Okay, and then going into the games I got from my Retro Game Treasure Box. If you've seen the video, you already know what I got. I'll just gloss through it. Got another N64 game, Ridge Racer 64, again with the sports games. Got Aladdin for the Sega Genesis, or this is the Super Nintendo. It's best known for the Sega Genesis, but it was also released on Super Nintendo, so there it is. I did not get any Genesis games this month. Got Fester's Quest for the NES, and I remember saying that it was a Munsters game. No, it's an Addams Family. I had Addams Family stuck in my head. I don't know why Munsters came out. I guess, I watched a lot of, I don't know. It was called The Tube here. I don't know what it's called everywhere else. But I watched a lot of that. They showed old TV shows like Munsters, Addams Family, but also things like The Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy, stuff like that. And I guess after a while it all just sort of meshed together in my head. I love old TV shows, though. They have a charm to them that's definitely been lost today. And then Tetris for the NES. Not much to say about that. It's Tetris. Okay, what pile to go after next? May as well get my PS4 games out of the way. Every single one of these is a limited print game. Can't believe it. I really wish LRG would cut back. They promise they will eventually, but haven't seen it yet. The first game actually isn't from LRG. This is Dimension Drive, which is not on the cover at all. I just realized there is no Dimension Drive. Is this reversible? Yeah, it's a reversible cover, and the other side of the cover has Dimension Drive on the front, but this doesn't. This is Dimension Drive. It was published by East Asia Soft, which publishes their games, limited print games, exclusively through PlayAsia. There are 1,600 copies of this in the world, and I have one of them. In fact, each of them are individually numbered. That's something that sets them aside from LRG or SRG. Mine is number 0295. Now, they're not... As far as... I was told, and I don't know how true this is, but I was told that East Asia Soft, when they print their games, they slap the sticker on randomly. It's not in print order, so even though mine's number 295, that doesn't mean it was the 295th copy to be printed. But nonetheless, you know, that's something really nice that they do that no one else does, and I'm super happy with that. So, this was sort of to get me prepared for when East Asia Soft starts doing Switch games, so I know how that process works. But it was also, you know what, why not? It was cheap. You know, 1,600 in the world. I think that makes this my rarest game that I own. Limited print games aren't really worth much right now. They may be in the future, but I don't get them. I don't get limited print games because it'll be valuable in the future. I get them because they're fun to collect. The rest of these are LRG. I'm just going to go in numerical order as they show on the spine. So, what came in the mail this month? Oregon Trail, Kero Blaster, Thimbleweed Park, which is their first Switch game. That's currently being printed. They're expecting to ship it late June, early July, so it's possible next month you'll see me holding a copy of this, of the Switch in my hand. We'll see. Kill the Bad Guy. Momodora. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Future Unfolding. I love the art style on that cover. And then, got their very first PlayStation VR game, Pixel Gear. I believe this is limited to 1,800 in the world. That number might be wrong, it might be 1,600. But I'd like to say this was 1,600 and this is 1,800. Regardless, this is one of the most limited prints that they've done for a game, and I got in on it. I do not have a PlayStation VR. I've been thinking of getting one for a while. I guess I'm just waiting on inspiration or something. But VR isn't really my thing, but I figured, you know what? It was an impulse decision, okay? Pretty much every single thing that I've started collecting started as an impulse decision. Okay, well that covers pretty much everything that I'm strictly collecting for. Let's go into some random games here. If you see the thumbnail, then you'll know about these. I got Aragon. So, for the eagle-eyed among you, / those of you who are in the know, my YouTube name, Skul TCG, is partly derived from Aragon. Skul is short for Skullblocka, which means dragon in the Aragon language, and Shurdigl means dragon rider. The TCG is for a trading card game, which is what my channel started out as for Pokemon. But I've always loved Aragon. It's now, you know, a permanent part of my life. And you gotta see my Aragon collection sometime. I have so many copies of all the books, it's not even funny. Not to mention posters, so many copies of the movie. I have Aragon's sword from the movie, a master replica of it. I love Aragon. I'm super into it. And somehow through all that, I never owned the game. So I went to my local retro store with that knowledge and decided to hit them up and see if they had any copies of the game. Now, the game was released on home consoles in 3 different ways. The original Xbox, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 2. It was also released on portables. They didn't have copies of that on portable, and it's a different game anyway. This is basically the same exact game over 3 different platforms. So, why did I get 3? Well, I love Aragon. Also, well, that was mostly it, but I figured I'd take that opportunity to say I think I will start going after an original Xbox collection, so OG Xbox. There's 800 plus games in the United States. I like to say the number, no one really knows the exact number. Like, the numbers posted are like, if you were to look up complete Xbox collection on YouTube, the Metal Jesus Rocks has a video where they show off like 881, I think, I could be wrong, or 841. So it's over 800. But do you count label variants? That's not exactly a label variant, but say there's a copy of this game that had on the cover, like embossed on the cover, it was part of the art. Down here it says, get a free ticket to see the movie when you buy this game. Some people count that as a completely separate game, some people don't, so I have to look further into what constitutes an actual Xbox list, because I don't care for variants. But it's safe to say that there's over 800, which would make it the largest library that I am intentionally going for. Aside from, like, I mean, that's pretty huge. But there's things like the Wii, which has over 1,000, the PS2 has over 2,000 games. But then you have older stuff, like even the NES and the Super NES, they only have like 700 games each. 721 for the Super Nintendo, so... Long story short, I will go after an Xbox collection, but it's not a priority right now. I'll just pick them up as I go. My priority is, first and foremost, the N64, then the Wii U, and then LRG PS4. That's my priority, and then the Xbox. Make sense? I only have 2 other piles to show off here. So here are some other random games I picked up this month. I hit up my Goodwill and they had these complete in box. I'm not sure if it's really, you know, a good haul or whatever, but I'm happy to have them. Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus. And now that I have the balance board, I can actually use these. I still don't have a Wii. But I do have the Wii U and the balance board works on that, so it's kind of the same thing. And then, if you paid attention last month, I already got this game. But, let's see, Prize Fighter for the Sega CD. But I picked it up at my retro game store. It was missing a disc, and the whole package was in horrible condition. This is in amazing condition. The case has scratches on it, as one would expect, but it's basically, there's no cracks or anything. This came with both CDs, so this is complete. Now I have a... This is a much, much nicer thing to put on my shelf. So, there we go. And then here we go with my final pile, with my probably the stuff that I'm happiest to have gotten this month. I'll just start here at the top. So, I got these from someone in the Switch Collectors Discord, which I just left because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. But there's someone there who owns a complete set of these. And I'll explain what these are in a second. But he said he had some, they were damaged, but he was willing to sell them. And we came up with an incredibly nice deal. Thank you so much for that deal. And he shipped them to me. So, as a matter of fact, I made videos about this last year. Almost exactly a year ago. So, we have an Arceus distribution cartridge. I don't know how well that shows up in the camera, but just believe me. And we got a Shiny Pichu distribution cartridge. So, what are distribution cartridges? Well, I'll leave a link in the description of this video to my video I made last year about what they are, how they work. But, long story short, these were how you got event Pokemon in Generation 4 and part of Generation 5. Well, part of Generation 4 as well. What they would do, say for Arceus, is they would ship this cartridge to stores like GameStop or Toys R Us or something like that, and those employees, for however long the event lasted, would stick this in a DS behind the counter or something, and leave it in a distribution mode so that the Wi-Fi was turned on, it would go out to the whole store, and people who walked in the store could just turn on their Pokemon game, turn on Mystery Gift, and receive the Pokemon. The events are long over, and the employees were supposed to ship these back to Nintendo for destruction. In fact, these were very damaged. You could see probably pretty well on both of these. The bottom is cracked. What they did was they would take tweezers or pliers or something and physically break the bottom part of the cartridge so that it shouldn't work anymore. Some employees kept the cartridges for themselves or to sell later. Some Nintendo employees kept them or sold them later. What a lot of them did is they broke it, they threw it in the trash, and somebody ransacked their trash and got it. And even though it's still broken, these do work. I tested both of them. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that goes to show just how well DS cartridges are made, where you could go out of your way to try and destroy them and they still work. There's 16 of these kinds of cartridges altogether in the United States. Some of them, these are 2 of the most sought-after ones. Arceus, because this is, to this day, the only legitimate way you can get that Pokemon in your Generation 4 games. You can hack it in, you can cheat, you could use glitches, but this is the only legitimate way to get one. And, this Shiny Pichu, because if you transfer this to Heart Gold Soul Silver, you can get the spiky-eared Pichu, and using that, you can unlock a Celebi event that lets you time travel, see Giovanni in the past, and battle him. That's the only way to unlock that event in Heart Gold Soul Silver. So that's why I wanted these 2 in particular, and again, I'm very happy with the price that we came up with. That's 4 now that I have, which is a quarter of the distribution cards. Now, gotta say, I have some of the easiest ones to find, okay? Even though Arceus is well sought after for obvious reasons, it's actually not that hard to get if you just search on eBay. Finding them not hurt, not destroyed, that's a different story. But if you just want one that works, regardless of how well it looks. I mean, this looks pretty bad, but it does work. If you want one that does work, even though it's destroyed, you can go on eBay, find them easily. There are some, but there's like a random Dragonite cartridge that was, no one wants Dragonite, right? But that's one of the hardest ones to find. So, anyway, I'm done talking about the cartridges. I got 2 of those. I'm super happy to have them. Now I can get those 2 Pokemon in my Gen 4 games whenever I want. This means a lot to me. This is probably my favorite pickup of the whole lot. This Game Boy Advance. Why is this so special? Well, one, it's a Toys R Us themed Game Boy Advance. You can probably see right there at the top of the screen. It says Toys R Us on it. And no, I didn't get this just because Toys R Us is going out of business. That really doesn't have anything to do with it. I got this because this is the exact same model Game Boy Advance I had growing up. When I was playing, when I got a Game Boy Advance, this was the one I got from GameStop. I don't remember what I did with it, but I had it for years. I have so much nostalgia with it. And I like, as soon as I got this, as soon as it came in the mail, and it's in amazing condition too, I'm super happy with it. As soon as this came in the mail, I plopped in my copy of Pokemon Silver, and I just had a wave of nostalgia come over me. Because, oh my goodness, this is my Game Boy Advance, and I'm super happy to have it, and yeah, that's why I got it, and that's why it is now a part of my collection. I got Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, and you might be wondering why. Well, my story with Smash is kind of weird, but a long story short, I had the case and manual. I did not have the cartridge, so I actually just bought the cartridge to complete it. I did have this at one point, but I sold it because I realized I already had it downloaded on my 3DS. I downloaded it onto... Okay, let me start over. When the games came out, I downloaded it onto my personal 3DS. That doesn't have a capture card on it. I played it tons, but a lot of people... This was when I was streaming a lot, random games, and trying to play with as many fans as I could. I can't now, but I could then. A lot of fans wanted to play with me, so I had to go out and buy a physical copy to play on my capture card 3DS because digital games do not transfer between systems. Nintendo. So I did that, and then it turns out nobody was really playing the 3DS version anyway. They all had the Wii U version, and I didn't like the 3DS version as much as the Wii U version for obvious reasons. So I ended up selling this to help fund my Xbox One, because I thought I'm never going to want a physical version of it again. And then my brother gave me a lot of his old games, and this was among them, but only the case and manual. I still have a whole pile behind my couch, actually, behind this camera, right over there, of games that only have the case and manual but are missing the game. I'd like to pick up maybe 1 or 2 a month until I complete those. But that's the story of why I got that. So now I have Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, which I think brings me up to 14 3DS games out of 412, I'd like to say. Regardless. And then this is the final thing I got this month. A brand spanking new 3DS XL Galaxy style. And this looks absolutely gorgeous. It's all in there. It's all in there, so... yeah, I didn't buy this actually. Well, I did kind of, but there was someone else in the Switch collectors group who was going to their Toys R Us and just picking up random stuff, and they said, "Hey, Toys R Us has a lot of these, and they're like 10-20% off, something like that. Does anyone want one?" And I thought, you know what, I'll bite. So I did, and they shipped it to me at cost. So super happy to have that. Ever since this came out, I've wanted it, because look at it, it's beautiful. And now I have it, and that's my 9th 3DS system. Out of 140, I think we're up to 143 now with what was just announced. Different designs, so that's just amazing. But anyway, so I'm sorry, I rambled a lot there towards the end, but that's what I picked up this month. Let me know what you guys, what your guys' favorite thing was that I picked up. Again, my favorite thing is the Game Boy Advance, but pretty much everything in that last pile is among my favorites. I'll be back next month, maybe not with as many games, but I can't wait to show off what I get in the month of June. Just something to add here real quick. I can't believe I forgot this, but I also got this complete in-box copy of a Pokemon Fire Red version. Everything is in there, all the inserts, the wireless adapter, the game itself, of course. Everything is in there. I just forgot to mention it in the video that I got this. So, yeah, one more thing, which I'm super excited about. Hi everyone, this is Skul. If you liked the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I also want to give a huge thanks to my Patreon pledgers for this month, whose names you can see on screen, along with some other videos of mine I think you might enjoy watching. That does it for now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.